Hey everyone, my name is Robert. Catch my episode on 34 Questions on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your podcast. See you there.
What's going on, folks? Welcome to 34 Questions. Tonight, I have a very special guest, one of the former students I used to work with, not a student no more, grown-ass adult, just like me. But welcome, Robert Zuniga, to the show. How you doing, Robert?
Hey everyone, my name is Robert Zuniga. It's good to be here. It's good to be on the channel, on the show. Jen and I go way back. He was a residential advisor, and I was a student, and we definitely had our moments. He was definitely a good mentor, and probably still is to a lot of people. So it's good to be on the show. I'm very fortunate.
Thanks for coming on, Robert. We've spoken off camera. Today was a busy day for you, and man, I just appreciate you coming on, being open to share your story, answering these questions. And I felt like you really put effort to get on. So mad love, and I appreciate that for sure.
No, thank you for having me. When you sent the link of when to make the appointment or the schedule, I was going through all the days and they were all booked. But this was a month ago, so I thought this day would be a nice day. But I ended up going on this trip. But we're here, so I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, man, that's the hardest thing about scheduling sometimes, especially when you try to do it too far in advance. Things change, and right. I've learned that the hard way. But we all learn every day, so. Yeah, for the folks unfamiliar with the show, the flow of it is that we do some intro warm-up questions just to set the tone. I have a little icebreaker for you, and then we jump into the main portion of the interview where you begin choosing a number between 1 and 34. Sound good to you, Robert?
Definitely.
All right, man. So my very first question for you is, how have you been? It's been a crazy couple years now. So you've been doing well. You've been going through it. How you been, Robert?
Yeah, no, pretty good. I've been safe. That's the most important part. With this whole pandemic, I've been taking care of myself. My family's been taking care of themselves as well. So very fortunate for that. Hanging in there. It's a tough time for a lot of people, whether it be employment or the next step. But I think I've been, doing my best and hanging in there. And I think that's the most important part of being, just being resilient and, just try to roll with the punches.
I hear you, man. What do you think's been the biggest positive for you through quarantine, specifically, just because, it's so recent and we're still going through it?
The biggest positive, or I think one thing that I took advantage of during the pandemic is actually, playing video games. I think it's been a long time. It's been a long time since I've been playing since I've played video games in general. So, I was able to my friend let me borrow his PlayStation 4, and I was able to play all these games that I've only heard through conversation. So I think these games that I've been playing, they're mostly open world. So it definitely is kind of awesome to get into that. Also because at one point I did take a video game course, a class of video game development.
Oh shit!
And the thought and all the process that goes behind it, it's just definitely pretty worth noting.
It makes you appreciate video games too, right? I'm sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, what game have you been playing? As far as open worlds, which ones have you been enjoying?
Yeah, so growing up, I used to play a lot of with my sister. I used to play a lot of Kingdom Hearts. It's just that Final Fantasy, with Disney kind of mixture. So we got the remastered version. We've been playing that, and then also been playing this one game called The Forest, which is a survival game. You're facing against these cannibal kind of creatures, and you have to build your defenses and stuff like that. And then soon, once I complete Kingdom Hearts, I'm thinking I'm gonna try to play Horizon. I've heard good things about it. And also Subnautica if I have time. I'm not really a big gamer. I didn't think I was but then after playing so much, I was like, you know what? I am a gamer.
Dude, I can't tell you how much I miss gaming, and I try to make time for it. But I'm more of a sports gamer. I do enjoy open worlds. I don't know if you've heard of No Man's Sky. You heard about that one?
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, that one I've been wanting to get into because it came out maybe 3 years ago, and people hated it because it wasn't like developed yet. But now, 3 years into like being out, a lot of the community has built a lot of open worlds for it. So now it's like endless open worlds. You could go like throughout the universe and just check out what people have built. So yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to. Maybe you can check it out too. Yeah,
and that's on the PlayStation?
I believe so. Yeah, you can get it on PlayStation. One specific PlayStation one is called Dreams. You heard of Dreams?
I have not.
People can basically make their own games within that game. Like that's the whole idea, is to like game development. They made it into a game so people can like create stuff. Like one I saw that I really liked was like they had an Avatar Last Airbender kind of game where like you're flying and stuff, and yeah, it just looks aesthetically pleasing and very calming, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So whenever you get a chance.
Yeah, and no, definitely worth noting. But I guess another positive that I guess I want to mention is, I was able to during the pandemic, I was able to like, be with my family, talk to them, hang out with them. I haven't before the pandemic, I wasn't actually in the country, so I was away from family. But that's another conversation.
You were outside the country when it started? Oh shit.
Yeah. So when the pandemic started, I was actually in the halfway point of my Peace Corps service, and the country that I was in Panama.
Yeah. Dude, Peace Corps. Mad respect, dude. Like, goddamn. What was that experience like?
That was the word to put it. It was very eventful. I think that's the word. Because there's a lot of uncertainty being out there, and like there's a lot of things like you want to do in terms of like projects, in terms of like work. But like 2 years goes by so quickly. I mean, obviously I wasn't there for 2 years, but when I was there, the time was flying by fast. I was meeting a lot of people, working on a lot of things, so the time flew. But it was really, really nice to be out there because I've never been outside the country for longer than 2 weeks. And with my Spanish-speaking background, it was easy to communicate with like the people that I lived around with. But at the same time, it was just difficult adapting to like that new environment where your utilities, like for example, I had water and electricity and all that stuff, but I didn't have internet, and just stuff like that you think about. But I honestly adapted after like a couple of days. I think the big part of my experience that I really like talking about is the food. I think I'm a really big food kind of culture person.
For sure.
And I always like just think about like how like the ingredients accessible to them, and how do they like develop this idea to use the ingredient with this type of protein or something like that, or how do they make this dish. So I'm always interested in that aspect. And Panama is a really nice area with different cultures of food.
All right, man. I'm gonna hopefully one day make it out there. Super jealous that you're bilingual. I'm super jealous of anybody that can speak more than one language. I feel like it's just so restricting when you just know one language sometimes. I'm all about communication, and I can only communicate in the English language. So
Wait, did you major in communications at Long Beach?
That was not. No, I actually I majored in recreation and leisure studies. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but
right.
Basically, I mean, I don't want to downplay like everyone else who's gotten a degree, but for me personally, it was one of those things where I was trying to find the fastest route out of college, and it was one of those where I could do this, I could make it happen, and yeah, so. Honestly, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do at the time, and yeah, I mean, I'm rolling with it. I enjoyed my time and the experiences I had with my teachers and classmates, but if I could do it over again, I would definitely put more thought into what it is I really wanted to do. But yeah, I mean, now it kind of led me to this path to do this, and so I can't be mad at it,
Definitely. Yeah. Like I said, rolling with the punches, right?
Exactly. Very, very important. So before we keep going, I got a little icebreaker for you, and feel free to participate. Feel free to say no. You let me know how you're feeling, but it is a one-word spelling bee. You down to try it?
Let's do it.
All right, man. So I'm pretty sure you are of drinking age now. So this word is daiquiri. Are you familiar with daiquiris?
Yeah.
Okay. cool.
Is it, man?
Take your time. You got 2 chances, so.
Okay. DAIQUIRI.
Yo, you got it.
Yeah.
Dude.
You know how I got it?
How'd you get it?
Okay, so Call of Duty Black Ops, they have one perk called Deadshot Daiquiri.
That's hilarious, bro.
I've never had a daiquiri before in my life, actually. I mean, I'm not really a big drink. I mean, I do like pina coladas and stuff, but daiquiri I never really had, but that's how I remember that.
Me either, man. Well, congrats. You've qualified for the 34 question spelling bee tournament whenever I get around to it, and I'll reach out to you to come back on and compete with the other folks who got their spelling word right. So
nice.
Yeah.
And that's funny because I recently watched a documentary like called Spelling Bee, and it's about a set of kids that are going through the spelling bee and how like their whole life is dedicated to get first place in this national spelling bee. It came out like in 2002, I think. But yeah, super good documentary.
Yeah. Well, what was one of your biggest takeaways? That sounds super interesting. Like, what would you think of it as far as an impression?
Well, I remember watching, and some of the kids, it was mostly that their parents wanted to get that win for them, whether it be for bragging rights and stuff like that. And I just thought like, I'm kind of glad, like the big takeaway is like, I'm kind of glad like my parents weren't really like that obsessive of like what career choices I wanted to do or what kind of things, what endeavors I wanted to pursue during that time in high school or younger than that. But yeah, it's just like I've never had parents or family members that like force their will in terms of like what careers I have that they want for me or that I want to do. So that was a big takeaway for me, I think.
For sure, man. That's a huge blessing too. I feel like a lot of kids growing up, they get that pressure to be somebody when they don't even know who they are yet, and it takes a long time sometimes to figure out who you are. So definitely. No, I'm appreciative too, man. I had the same experience with my folks, and I'm just I don't know if it's like a cultural thing. I know for Asians there's like this whole thing about super strict parents and stuff. So yeah, I'm pretty fortunate and blessed that my folks weren't like that, anyways.
Definitely.
Let's continue with some more warm-up questions, and this next one is, what would you like the audience to know about you?
That's a good question. Like a first impression kind of thing.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess honestly the first thing that comes into mind is that like I am kind of growing out my hair. It does look ugly now, but I hope like in a couple of months it's gonna look beautiful. So bear with me.
I got you. Hey man, I'm feeling your style though right now with the headband and everything, bro. So
remember that in Smash where I was wearing that red bandana with Donnie?
Dude,
we were matching. Remember that one day we had to match?
I remember the twin day.
Yeah.
Has that been a part of your your fashion, or you just brought it back?
No, I mean I just started growing out my hair in like this past like November, so
okay.
This is like the first time I'm doing it too. I think that's why it's like kind of like a big deal for me.
Yes, dude. I mean, my hair is not at the best state. That's why I'm always wearing beanies. But yeah, I mean, while you're young, grow it out, enjoy it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and don't say it looks bad, man. It looks cool right now, man. So yeah. Are you gonna do anything crazy with it? Or are you just gonna let it like flow? You gonna braid it up, maybe?
I want to have it long enough where I can like, slick it back with like gel, like
Ooh, okay.
Just looking like I belong in like a novella kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Dude. Okay, I see you. Do it, man.
Hell yeah.
All right, cool. And my the next warm-up question is, if someone were to pay a tribute to you, like how would you like to be honored? What could I do in your honor? Like if I'm saying I'm gonna honor Robert today in some kind of act, how could I do that?
I think so I'm not sure if maybe the audience have already guessed it, but I'm pretty big on like documentaries by mentioning Spelling Bee. But I think I've always thought about like, people write biographies of themselves or stuff like that. And I just thought like it would be kind of cool. I'm not sure if it's kind of like being too much full of myself or anything like that, but a documentary about like my childhood or a documentary of like of like my history or my legacy. I think that's something that I would love to see in the works. If if I have the chance to do it by myself, I would definitely do it. That's the plan. But if someone wanted to pay a tribute of me, how like in baseball where like like a player that used to play on this team comes back on a different team but plays against the team they used to play for, like they have like a huge montage on the big screen of like all the stuff they've done, and then at the end they say like thank you, so and so. I think that's something that like my heart will like warm up to for sure.
That's what's up, man. And if I had the time and resources, you gotta let me be a part of that project, because
definitely.
Yeah, I'm big on documentaries too. I've been trying to watch more. I'm actually thinking of doing like a film club since I've been doing this podcast. So maybe you could throw me some good recommendations and talk about it on a future episode. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Yeah. You seen this one? I just seen. I watched maybe 10 minutes of it. It's called the negative side of personality tests. Have you it's called like that something. Have you heard of it?
I have not, but I'll look it up.
Dude, the opening, I'm a sucker for when movies open with quotes,
Okay.
They show you a quote like to set the tone. So the quote was by Carl Jung, the philosopher, I want to say, or anyways, the quote was, "The world will ask you who you are, and if you don't know, it will tell you who you are." And I was like, oh shit, dude. Like, that's exactly what personality tests do sometimes,
True.
So yeah, it really hit me. And the other two I've watched recently was the Nickelodeon documentary, came about the 90s and how it came about and everything, and the WeWork documentary. Those two were pretty good. I don't know if you're gonna have time or interest to check those out, but I'd recommend those for you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
And then the final warm-up question is, on a scale from 1 to 10, how well do you know yourself?
That's a good question. So, you mentioned that quote, and it made me think of like a quote that I resonate with, and that is, "I am whatever you say I am" by Kurt Cobain. And I just, I kind of just, thought that to myself, and I do resonate with it. I do believe I rather spend time doing things that I want to do rather than asking myself who I am, and then by doing things I'll find out who I am.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so in terms of a scale, I would say like 7 out of 10, and then that 3 being like a wild card kind of thing, like very, very variable. Like it'll change. Like nothing is concrete in that sense.
No doubt.
But that
man.
3 is dedicated to like entropy.
Entropy. What's entropy mean again?
It's like chaos.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because so much stuff is out of our hands, right? Like things can change, and on this podcast, I always mention that at my highest of highs, I know myself the most, and at my lowest of lows, I know myself the least, and I think that just fluctuates throughout my life. But no, I feel you, man. I am who you say I am. That was a quote that resonates with me.
Yeah, I am whatever you say I am.
Yeah, man, that's such an interesting one. It's just making me think right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure if coming from Kurt Cobain, it could be like like kind of like bug off society or I'm doing whatever I want to do kind of thing. But I see it as somewhere like that. I see it something as like my actions speak for themselves kind of pathway.
I'm all about that, man. Because sometimes just saying things isn't enough, or yeah, I have this whole thing about it. Like I don't like to say some stuff, and it comes with confidence sometimes too, like issues with confidence. But yeah, definitely, I would agree with the fact that you are what you do more than anything else. So yeah, take action.
Definitely.
All right, man. We're gonna jump into the main portion of the interview right now.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So there are 3 levels. There's like a easy, medium, hard. Which one would you want to go for?
Let's try the hard ones. Might as well. You know what I mean?
All right, man. Yeah. All right, man. And go ahead. Shoot me a number between 1 and 34.
All right. Let's shoot 15.
15. All right, man. I think this one's pretty heavy. Let me know if you'd like to pass. But What's the worst thing you ever told yourself?
Ooh, okay. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna refer to an experience I had in the Peace Corps. You know, a lot of the work out there, in the pamphlets and all like the information infos that the Peace Corps gives out, you know, it seems like a lot of people are doing good work, and they're doing honest work, and it's very like, you know, creative, and definitely like looks nice. It looks prolific and stuff in that aspect. But when you're on the ground, you know, you're actually like, you know, working with the community and trying to figure out like what kind of projects you want to do. There would be days where, you know, you just feel like wow, this is taking forever, or like things are not going the way I wanted them to go. So it gets to the point where like it kind of like affects like your worth, or in my case, it affected my worth. Like, am I worth like this for this? Like, am I worth this position, or like, am I a hard worker enough? Like, am I? And then, you know, these questions eventually become like, I'm worthless, or statements that I'm saying, I'm worthless. But you know, it's just the topic of self-worth was definitely something that I thought about a lot when I was out there, and you know how it was based on like the work I've been doing out there, the work I was doing out there. So I think the one thing I really had to tell myself was that like my self-worth, or my personality, or who I am, does not it is in my control, but at the same time, it's not like it doesn't rely on this project, on this one project of my whole life, you know. Like this project or whatever I'm working on won't make or break me. And so I always, you know, told myself, you know, roll with the punches. You know, there's always uncertainty in every position that you're in, and you can't do anything about it. You know, you just gotta wait until it hits you, and then you gotta, you know, adapt to it and act fast.
No doubt, man. Yeah. Well, first off, thank you for opening up. I know it's not easy to talk about, you know, something like that, especially when it comes to self-worth. It is a very personal thing that I think people struggle with. I know, you know, I feel like I struggle with it all the time. But yeah, first off that, and then you've mentioned rolling with the punches like a couple times already. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why is it so important to roll with the punches, you would say?
I think it's just, I think being resilient, it will take you like far in life. Especially now during the pandemic, I think being resilient, you know, like for example, like this past, I would say like 5 months, I've been, you know, submitting applications on Indeed, LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, Handshake, you know, all these job apps, and haven't gotten much back. But you know, I didn't let it affect me. I didn't let it affect me, and I didn't let it, you know, affect my self-worth as much, you know, that it might have in the past. But you know, now it just seems like, you know, I'm rolling with the punches. I'm dealing with the cards that have been given and making something out of it. And it does sound like, you know, kind of like a general kind of like hopeful, optimistic statement, but I think it does have like an impact.
Yeah, man, I think it's a great mentality to have. Yeah, I wouldn't say it. When people say things are cliche, I think it's just because I just think it's because it's the truth sometimes, and like we can't really deny that it's the real thing. So whatever's cliche, I think has just been proven over and over again, that people like, oh man, I don't want to hear it again, but it's the truth. And yeah, like I gotta ask you, first off, I want to know what you graduated with. If what major did you what path did you take?
Yeah, so I ended up graduating with a Bachelor of Science degree in Environmental Science.
Oh shit, okay.
Yeah, and went to Davis. I'm like a lot of you, it was pretty hard. It was, I barely passed most of my classes, but you know, I was able to get something out of it, and I chose that like degree, thinking that like, you know, environmental science is a pretty broad topic. I can get into, you know, agriculture, I can get into marine science, or you know, I could pick and choose what I want to do, get my feet wet, see what I like and what I don't like. And I think that's what I like about it, but then it's also what I dislike about it, because like, you know, if I want to do everything, like, then there's not a lot of time to pursue something that's like my specialty, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's allowed me to like open up and see what I like and what I don't like.
Do you have a vision of where you want it to take you, or where you want to kind of end up?
Yeah. So at this very moment, I'm actually I applied to a bunch of graduate programs, and a few of the graduate programs that I applied to were like wildlife filmmaking programs. So that's something that like
Okay.
I think that's something that combines what I studied in the classroom with like the hobbies that I have on the side. And that's something during the pandemic that I found out that like I can make these hobbies into a career. I just need I just need to like risk it and go all into it, and that's what I've been doing, I think.
That's what's up, man. So you're a filmmaker.
Yeah, and like I don't want to like say like I'm a filmmaker,
Yeah, I got you.
People are gonna be like, oh, are you really? And I'm like,
hey,
I'm a beginner,
Yeah, don't worry about what other people say, man. How do you feel? Do you feel like a filmmaker?
I think the one thing I like about films a lot, like the one thing I'm keen on, is editing. So I think, and I do know how to edit on Final Cut Pro 7. I know it's an old software, but I love using Final Cut Pro 7. I think Parasite was actually edited on Final Cut Pro 7. But I would say I'm like more of a film editor rather than a filmmaker.
Okay.
If that makes a difference, yeah.
Yeah. So have you ever worked on projects where you've kind of had to like, develop a vision with a director and you edit something? No.
Never. I just worked on small projects that like I did have to submit like a project for like these graduate programs, and so I made something out of my experience in Panama. So
for sure.
But I never really worked with a director or anything like that, and that's like something I'm excited about. Actually, I think it's gonna be hard, because like there'll be scenarios where we have different visions. At the same time, I think that threshold, that like kind of like push and pull factor, like creates like diamonds. With a little bit of pressure, diamonds are created. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. That's cool. So for me, I've dabbled in a little bit of video editing, and I've tried. Man, like I never thought that I would use so many softwares, because they would say, oh, choose the one you like and then stick to it, learn everything about it. And then for whatever reason, I've tried, Premiere, Final Cut, Sony Vegas, or not.
Avid?
Oh no, I haven't tried Avid. I don't know if that's the same thing as Vegas. Is that the same thing as Vegas? Avid? I'm not sure. I'm so inexperienced. But and DaVinci. Right now I'm using DaVinci.
Okay.
Yeah, DaVinci's pretty cool, like as far as everything goes. But yeah, try all that stuff. But if you like Final Cut, stick with it.
Yeah.
And let's talk, man, because I would like to work with you in some kind of form and fashion, if you're up to
Definitely.
it, and if you're open to it. I would like to see what your vision is, and I want to see you flex your skills sometimes. So
thank you. I recently made my Vimeo account, so let's do it.
All right, we'll talk more off camera about it. Let's keep it rolling. Go ahead and throw me another number.
All right, so I said 15 because one of my favorite baseball players is number 15, so let's try a different number.
Who's your favorite baseball player?
Well, I guess my favorite pitcher, Dan Herron.
Dan Herron. That sounds familiar.
He jumped from different teams, but he was on the A's at one point, so that's why I kind of respect him.
That's the only thing about baseball, man, is that players jump so quick, and like they keep moving. But go ahead, throw me another number.
All right, let's choose 25.
25. What is your mission?
Ooh. Okay. My mission.
Personal mission, man.
Okay, I recently watched the documentary The Last Dance, and that was very motivating in terms of like finding out like what my goal is and like how much effort I want to put into reaching that goal. So my mission, I would say, is I think my mission is keep learning. I think we find ourselves a lot in like areas where like, once you graduate, or once you like, it doesn't have to be like an education system. I think you just keep learning in general, whether it be learning a new skill, or or reading a new book, or just, having a different perspective. I think that's what my mission is. I don't think I'll ever stop, learning or taking a class. You know, I think I love taking classes, just not because it's required, but because like I'm interested, or maybe I don't know what it is and I'm not, and once I find out I'm not interested, but knowing that I'm not interested and I gave it a shot, and it's just something that I like doing.
I got you. That's something that I'm working on, man. I don't know, I have this like problem, an issue with my ego, self-esteem, and like just being afraid of like getting back to a class. Like, yeah, I'm in this phase where I'm thinking about going back to school too, and you know, just taking some classes, and yeah, we'll see where that goes. But mad respect. I do agree with you know, the whole notion of, I mean, how can we stop learning? There's so much stuff we don't know, right?
Yeah.
And like, you know, so.
And that's what I like about, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go, no, you go for it.
Yeah, that's what I like about documentary films, just like, or for example, not even documentary films, but like even like some like food channels, or like even Anthony Bourdain, like they just seem like, you know, they're asking the questions, like they're eager to learn about someone's culture, they're eager to learn about like how something's made, and like it's just like, you know, it's like a very natural, organic conversation between them and then the person that they're interviewing, and that's what I think that's my mission too. I just like, if I really want to go into this documentary filmmaking career that I've mentioned, I do want to, you know, I want to learn how to ask those questions, to engage in conversation that's so dynamic, and period.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you, what is something that you're eager to learn next?
I think film editing, like on different programs, but learning the technical and logistics of you know, like behind like filmmaking. I think that's one step that I want to overcome to actually make it serious, that I want to do this, and I think like, you know, learning different cameras, learning different angles, different like you know, its own lingo. I'm learning that. I think that's key in my journey.
I got you.
Yeah.
Can you drop any knowledge on me, like something new that you learned recently that you know, maybe share with us and share with me and the audience, something new?
All right, let's see. Recently, something that I learned.
Could be a fun fact, you know, just something small. Doesn't have to be too crazy.
I think I've been learning a lot about. I honestly, The Last Dance I love the documentary, but I would have done things differently. But it definitely is something, like, it engaged me into basketball, and I think learning about like these players and how many like points they drop per game, and definitely just the history of basketball in the 90s. I think that's what excites me the most. And so I after watching this documentary, I'll go on YouTube and look up interviews on John Stockton, Reggie Miller, and like, you know, they would talk about, like, there was one YouTube video that they would talk about like their favorite or like the best players of each decade, and how basketball changed from the 80s to the 90s to what we see now. And yeah, I think that's something that I've been learning lately. And I think, you know, I think it's very like useful. I think it's very useful, and I think I'm gonna use it one day.
Yeah. It'll all connect. You know, you don't Definitely. Know when it's gonna come up. You might meet somebody that, like, you know, you're not sure how to connect with them, and all of a sudden you could just talk basketball with them, and then you know, a new relationship is made. But yeah, you know, it's funny. I haven't actually seen the entirety of Last Dance yet, and I'm a big basketball fan. So you know, I've just been kind of lazy, and I think it's just been really, it's like 6 parts, so it's like, you know, it's pretty lengthy. Oh, shit. Yeah, it's 10 episodes. So, yeah, I know I'm probably gonna get some comments about like, oh my God, you haven't watched it, but yeah, no, I'll get to it.
Do you remember? Okay.
Do I remember what?
Smash scholar Kenvin Cantran.
Yes, I do. What about him?
We talk about The Last Dance like almost every day.
That's what's up, man. He is my Facebook friend, so
shake and bake.
Have you heard of the 30 for 30s? ESPN documentary series?
I've seen a couple of ESPN documentaries on YouTube. Trying to remember which. I think there's a couple of baseball ones that I've seen. I think the Swinging A's, was that a 30 for 30 documentary?
Swinging A's?
The A's in the 1970s?
Could have been, yeah. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna have to check that one out. I was gonna say maybe even check out, there's the Magic Johnson, Larry Bird one, like how they were both rivals ever since like college coming up, and then just the relationship that they had, you know, being, you know, people who basically represented, you know, East Coast, West Coast, black and white, and like, you know, in the whole basketball in the 80s. So yeah, that's another one that's pretty good to check out as well.
Okay, cool. Definitely gotta write this down.
Hey, just check out your episode later on, and you know, everything's on there. This is cool because it's kind of like it's part of your documentary. You know, you could take a clip of this later on and just like add it on. That's the whole idea behind this anyway too. Yeah.
put some epic music in the, like some Hans Zimmer in the back, and make it look so like motivating.
Some Hans Zimmer, yeah, dude. Yeah, maybe at the end you could just like do a speech, and you could use that one for yourself. All right, I'm gonna throw you a curveball right now, and I'm gonna be giving you a fill in the blank. So this is I'm too young to blank.
Oh man, that is a curveball. That's like a 12-6 curveball.
What's that mean? What's a 12-6 curveball?
Yeah, it's like when it goes Kershaw, like
goes down
from top to bottom. Wow.
Makes sense, yeah. When I thought about it, we'll go for it.
I'm too young to stop.
Stop what?
Just like stop, like, oh man.
No worries, yeah. Take your time.
Sounds like a music lyric, yeah. I'm feeling.
Stop.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm too young to stop. I think with any aspect in life, I think not necessarily keep going, but more so like progressing.
Yeah.
Or you know, maybe like from day to day we don't see like progress in ourselves, but I don't think that's a bad thing either. I think we always have to like reserve time for process and then progress afterwards. So I think I'm too young to stop means that like I don't want to like, you know, dwell on things. I want to process things and then move forward. I
feel you.
Yeah.
And then why do you think people stop?
You know, I was watching the show on HBO, Watchmen. Like, you know, it's based off the comics.
Dude, that was a heavy show. Yes,
it was a heavy show. And I think the cool thing that got me thinking, and I guess a lot of shows got me thinking about this too, but it's just like, you know, like the perspective of time. So like, you know, Dr. Manhattan, like in some of the episodes he references, and he says like, I look at time differently. As if like almost past, present, and future were all happening simultaneously. And I just put things in perspective. I think like, you know, you hear the narrative, like don't dwell on the past, but like, I think, you know, things that happened in the past are like, you know, very relevant to the present, and then obviously very like they're all like interconnected. So it's like almost, yeah, it's almost like a web rather than like, you know, a timeline of how I see it.
I like that.
Yeah, and I think it's normal for anyone to look back in things and hold things from the past, and then, you know, maybe that's a form of process, but I wouldn't let it hinder future.
I got you.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's with anything.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not talking anything particular, just like whether it be like, you know, relationships, life, jobs, and career goals and stuff like that. I think that's one way of looking at things.
No doubt. Something that I've worked on as far as seeing myself as, that linear and dwelling on the past. I don't know if you or if anybody out there has that issue, but something that's helped me is writing all the memories I could remember, and like especially the ones that I guess it's not what really happened, it's just from my perspective, but writing it down helped me let go of a lot of things, which is interesting because I never thought that would be the way I could process it, get it out. So I do see it more as a web. That was a good way to put it, for sure.
And when you write these things, do you hold on to them or do you dispose of them?
I actually hold on to them because I have this idea of maybe releasing it all in one thing, called so who knows. I just put it in a Google Doc and I let it sit there. But yeah, I started it, and whenever I get a chance, any downtime, and I'm like, all right, well, I wrote a list of topics I want to write about, and then from there I started like adding to it, and it's very like autobiographical. Yeah, I guess that's the word I'm looking for. But yeah, it's in that kind of tone. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really helped me let go of a lot of regrets, I would say, because I think that's something that it was hard for me to let go, and I would always be brought back to that state of mind anytime I was struggling, so I think it's just a good exercise for anybody who has that same kind of struggle. Before we move any further, I know like you said you maybe had a question for me or anything. I did want you to like throw one at me if you wanted to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So throw you like a change up?
Yeah. Since it's been so long since we caught up, Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to put you on the spot or anything. We could keep going with you though.
I think I guess I just wanted to mention one of the things that when we first met, obviously we had there was like that. It wasn't like a teacher-student relationship, but like you were my mentor, and I was like a student. So obviously there were some boundaries to be placed, and like now, is there like are we like do you still see me? Because like, do you still see me as a student? Because actually, I was an RA for Smash at a different site for one summer.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. So
that's what's up, man.
Yeah, and so it was like when I was an RA, I was like wow, I like these kids. This is like these kids' summer, and I'm being like such a not a pushover, but like you have to like make sure like they're safe, and I have to make sure like they're following kind of like doing their homework or following the rules and stuff like that. So I was like, dang, it kind of sucks, but I still see them today. Like I'll see them on Instagram or on social media, and I don't know if I approached them as like a friend or as like still like a mentor type relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So for me personally, I just view you as I knew you as a high schooler, but now you're an adult, man, and we're all kind of in that same pool. We're all in the deep end, we're all trying to figure things out. And yeah, I mean, of course, I'll still kind of see you in that like little brother kind of figure as far as mentorship role. I mean, if you ever had needed advice, I'm more than happy to dispense it, but I don't think anything I say is gonna be like profound or useful. It's just very like it's just from my perspective, and that's all I can really tell you. I would always kind of like have that disclaimer of like this is just from my perspective. Your path is your path, and you got to trust yourself more than anything. And definitely. Yeah, so at this point, man, I mean, I see you as an adult, like you the man, dog. So and you I mean, you going through your life, and I'm all for supporting you in your journey. Whatever role you would like me to be in, I'm more than happy to play that. But I consider you a friend, to be real. So yeah, and
thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. And it's just funny because that just because we met at a certain age, or like you were younger than me, and it was in this like I'm an authority figure, and you were a kid, but It's funny, man. I think I was definitely a pushover. I think I'm still a pushover sometimes. I'm very much a people pleaser. I don't know if you ever got me to like let you get away with something back then. I can't remember, but
Nah, I mean that's pretty cool. I mean, I wasn't really doing much in Smash. I was just doing what I had to do. Miles was my RA, sweet RA, I think.
Yeah, he was. And, yeah.
He said I was a good kid, so I was like, all right.
Nah, yeah. I mean, that's the thing, man. Like, I'm sure you noticed it when you were working with the students too. Like, kids are kids, man. It's like it's so pure. It's so like, you know, they're being themselves. And you probably remembered what it was like being their age and being like a student too, right? It's like all these connections, man. And it's pretty awesome that you got to be an RA too, because like now we got this lineage of, because I think about that about my RAs too. And I actually had one of my RAs on the show recently, you know, a month ago or so. And it's just, man, like Smash is so unique in that sense. I think, you know, I guess all programs where you have to live with people and do all the same similar connections, but you know, I think for Smash it was a unique experience, man. I don't know how to describe it. It's you know, were you still there the next year after I was there, or did you already finish? Was that your third year? Can't remember.
I think that was my third year, so that was my last year.
For sure, because I didn't get invited back. Because, you know, it's funny, in the interview to come back, dude, I was like, they asked me about, you know, what did I do and what did I like, you know, do, why did I want to come back and what did I do to make me feel like I deserve to come back, right? I was a dumbass, bro, and I told them about all the rules I broke, as far as like, you know, oh yeah, you know, curfew, you know, sometimes I let the kids kind of like hang out together a little bit longer, you know, just to build those relationships, you know. And they were like, you did what? And I'm like, I was like, oh yeah, you know, it's just for the kids, man, for the kids' experience.
Exactly.
And I was trying to get them to understand that, but I understand from their point of view, it's like, this guy's a liability, we can't let him you know, come back. So that's why I didn't. But nah, I think Miles stuck with them for a while though, or he came back and he was working for Smash for a long time. But I'll get you reconnected with them too. Me and him, we stay in touch still too. So
thank you.
Yeah, we'll make it happen, man. Just a heads up, we got about 10-15 minutes left into the podcast. Flying by. Yeah, flies by. I want to thank you again for coming on and being so honest and open. It's been great to reconnect, and I hope you're having fun too.
Yeah, definitely. No, thank you for having me. You know, definitely want to reach out to you afterwards, or you know, another session. But exciting.
Let's keep this connection, man. Let's keep this connection. Go ahead and throw me another number, man.
All right, let's do 11.
11. When was the last time you cried, and why?
Oh.
Yeah. That's a tough one too, man.
When was the last? Wow. Okay, this is actually, I cried a little bit on Tuesday because I had a Zoom meeting that I was supposed to be a part of, and I was like getting ready for it, and I was practicing my, like, what I had to say. It was like a presentation kind of thing, and then I thought it, for some reason, I thought it was at 1:20. So I was practicing those 20 minutes. Was like, okay, I was reading my note cards and stuff, but it was actually at 1. So when I got in there, like everyone was there, and like I looked around and I was like, oh my goodness, like, and then I like sent a message to someone like, hey, was this like at 1 or 1:20? And they're like, no, you're late. Like it's too late kind of thing. So I was like, and so I ended I didn't end the Zoom call, but I, you know, turned the camera off and muted myself because I don't want to hear myself, hear people crying, have people hear me crying. But I was just like, yeah, like this is like, we've been having Zooms for a while. How come I didn't like pick this up? You know what I mean? So I was kind of like, whatever, but
dude. Yeah. That's a tough one for sure. Especially when you're looking forward to something. And
yeah, it actually was. It was actually, it was an event hosted by like, the Metric Club that I'm a part of. And they had a guest speaker that I was supposed to kind of like introduce with like a presentation. So it was pretty bad in my part.
Yeah. Were you able to like, you know, kind of explain yourself, or was it like, no, let's just keep moving?
Yeah, I just keep moving. I I'm not sure if I'm making a big deal out of it, but like, you know, hopefully, I don't know. I haven't really asked any of the people like, oh, I'm sorry, or is everything okay, kind of thing. But I will see them next week. So.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, it's not the end of the world, you know. Sometimes.
Right.
But in the moment, oh man, no, I know what you mean. It just feels so shitty sometimes.
Yeah.
But roll with the punches, right? You keep on pushing. All right. And I think we got one more time for one more number. Go for it.
All right, let's do 22.
22. Have you ever felt like you hit rock bottom? Could be a no, but
yeah, I think you know, this was back in high school. I think, you know, you don't really, in high school, I guess you can make the argument that you don't really know what rock bottom is when you're in high school, but you know, it was definitely a struggle trying to, you know, apply to colleges and you know, being in an environment, and you see it everywhere in high school. I mean, I imagine, but like, you know, a competitive environment, you know, where, you know, people want to get in the best colleges, and once they get into the colleges, you know, they'll flash their sweater with the letters and the colors, and that was just like, and then, you know, a lot of like, so yeah, I ended up going to Ohlone College before I went to my university, community college, and at the time it was not like something that I wanted to do, but it's something that I had to do. So it was out of my eye control, and just, I guess social media took over in that sense too. You know, all these friends and people of my age, you know, having the best times of their lives in college, and while I'm here, like in community college. But nothing against it. I think obviously, I think it was a good idea that I went to community college, and you know, something that I truly admire. But that's like when I first thought, like, oh my gosh, like this is not where I want to be, kind of thing.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think you went the smart way.
Yeah,
yeah. Exactly. I would highly recommend anybody thinking about higher education to just figure it out in community college, before you start paying the big bucks in the university. But yeah, man. So we made it to the concluding portion of the interview, man. I do have one more like curveball for you. I like to call them curveballs because it's not really you choosing a question, it's me choosing a question for you.
Yeah.
This is a shout out question, so you gotta shout out somebody.
Oh, for sure. This is easy. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Who would you like to thank?
I like to shout out. No, thank or shout out?
I mean, it's a like you're shouting out with a thank you. So who would you like to thank out there?
Oh, all right, for sure. I like to give thanks to and shout out to Eric Aleman. You know, yeah. We kept in touch, and he's definitely like helped me. He's definitely helped me throughout my college experience and even afterwards. So shout out to him, and hopefully he gets to watch this video.
Yeah, I mean, I hope you do watch it, Eric, and you come on, and you come on yourself, man. You know, you're definitely a good dude. At least, you know, my experience with them, working with them. Yeah, I can't wait to see if I can get a chance to connect with them. It would be awesome. Shout out to Eric, man. And then, yeah, we got some closeout questions. This next one is actually from my previous guest, finding a way to connect people. So yeah, this person, shout out to Isabel, all the way from Toronto.
Ooh, go Toronto Blue Jays.
Oh, man, I don't know if she's a fan, but yeah, go Blue Jays. I went to Toronto recently and was by their stadium. I like the vibe in Toronto. I don't know if you ever been. You been?
No, never been.
It's cool, man. Take a chance to visit when you do.
Yeah.
And her question is, what's something you wish you could tell your parents that you never have?
Huh. Can you repeat the question?
What's something you wish you could tell your parents that you never have? This is kind of putting you on spot too, though. So if you feel like you want to pass, it's okay. But this is a good question.
Yeah. Wow, that's tough. Okay, something that I never have. Wish that I never have. Wish. I guess one thing is that I want to travel. So, I mean, I've talked about that before to them. I want to travel, but I never. I think with, that's exciting and stuff. It's like, but that means that like I don't like. It means like there's not gonna be a lot of time to see them. So I think what I'm trying to say is like, I want to like travel. But I thought of moving away from like California. Nothing against California, but just moving away. And I love my family and love them to death and stuff. But I just think like I want to travel, and that will definitely limit the times I see them. But I think it's something it's something that I want to invest in.
No doubt, man. I mean, do you mind me asking how old you are?
25.
25. When I was 25, man, I was in the same mindset. I wanted to get out there and move around. And it's hard. Like, thank you for opening up. That was a pretty on-spot question. And if your folks see this, then now they're gonna know how much you want to travel. But yeah, man, I never got a chance to do it. I'll be real. Like I stuck with my parents. I stuck around close. And at the time, I don't think I appreciated it as much. But I also think that's the time to do it, if any. Because now that I'm in my 30s, I kind of feel like I need to be here for my folks more than ever. Yeah, so if you have the opportunity, it's not forever. It's just for like a little while for you to live that life, and then you come back being a more grown person
with longer hair.
Yeah, with longer hair. So
exactly,
if your folks see this, give them some time to explore. Give them some time to explore.
Definitely.
For sure. And then my next question is, what would you like to ask the next guest? You can make it hard for them, like you just got one.
Man, I don't get to know who the next guest is, right?
Nah, man, it's all because sometimes people reschedule too, so I can't guarantee it's gonna go to a certain person. Yeah.
I think this will kind of relate to the theme a little bit of like leaving behind a legacy, but I think what I want to ask the next guest is, how would you explain, or how did you surpass the obstacle of being in a that's kind of, I was gonna say being in a pandemic, but I was like, nah, I don't even want to ask that.
Okay, you can switch it up.
Wow, this definitely is a brain teaser.
It's all good.
Okay, I guess one thing I would like to ask them is their opinion on a statement.
Okay.
And so that statement is never meet your idols. How do they feel about that statement? Have they met their idols before, and what was the reaction?
Gotcha. I'm just typing it out. Never meet your idols. What is your stance? Have you met them before?
There you go.
That's interesting, man. I don't know if I'm trying to think if I've ever came across that kind of situation. I don't think I have, but personally for me, like I used to idolize Shaq a lot when I was a kid, and then as I got older, I mean, it's not that I don't think Shaq is a cute businessman and like really knows his stuff, but I just think now I can see like why some people might not like him, which is understandable. Everybody's not for everybody, but Yeah, that's just one of those things where as I got older, I'm like, oh, now I know who that guy is. Well, and honestly, I still don't know who he is. It's just now I just kind of feel like I shouldn't have held him up in such high regard, you know.
Did some deep search.
yeah. But for sure, man. And my very last question for you, the one that ties it all together, is what would you like your descendants to know about you? 500 years from now, they're watching this. What would you like them to know about you?
Yeah, and I thought about that a lot. I always thought like, I definitely try to record things. I try to put things on video, like some experiences, memories, and stuff like that. And you try to keep it off the cloud. I think I would, like on a data cloud, I think I'd be more safe on like an external hard drive. So I always back up my computers, just because I always want to retain like those photos. And then like, mediums where those photos can be seen. Imagine 500 years from now, they're probably, no one uses like a USB-C anymore or something, whatever like that. Or, different outputs and inputs and stuff.
It's in the cloud. I'm hoping it's just in the cloud that they can pull it from. Yeah.
But I think, I think that's the best way. And then I think like with that all being complex, I think the best way to keep it simple is, keep it in writing. So, that's something that I would like to leave behind in my descendants, kind of like, and not even like writings about myself, was more so like writings that start out like with a question, such as like, for example, how are you? And then you just write, if you're not okay, then I've been through it too. I think those kind of messages are, transcend all through time. Just like those simple questions, I'm not trying to like make them think about it, just like, hope everything's okay. Hopefully, whatever you're going through, I went through something similar and I could try to help you out. I'm kind of thinking like a book where like, it's like a yes or no, and then there's like a no, flip to a different page of the book, or if a yes, flip to like a different page, like kind of like that kind of like format where like.
That's pretty crazy, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. That, I think you could pull it off, and that's a definitely different way to approach. It's a similar thing that I'm trying to do, but now you have me thinking about transcribing these conversations, just because, like you said, we don't know what inputs and outputs are going to be using in the future. So, but the written word is probably going to be around for a long time. So, damn.
No, you best get to it. You have a bunch of videos, huh?
Dude, yeah. I'll find a service. I'll pay somebody to like transcribe it. That's usually that's the option nowadays, is just to pay like an algorithm or software to kind of like do it. Computers are that smart now. But thank you for putting me on, because it gave me something to think about as far as how this is going to be, timeless. You feel
Definitely.
me? But yeah, man, any last things you want to add before we head out?
Yeah, no, to your audience, thank you for hearing us out. Hopefully this conversation was very fruitful, and you had a good time listening to it. I do ramble, I do like stutter sometimes, so sorry for that, but that's who I am.
Exactly, man. Don't apologize for that. Everybody does it. I do it.
True.
Yeah, still working on it. But on that note, thank you folks for checking out the episode, listening or watching, and we'll catch you next time. The music, like I've been working on giving credits and everything. I want to thank Robert for coming on again. Thank you for your time, man. It was great catching up, and I'm glad that we got to reconnect and hopefully build this connection as we get older. We're all adults now.
We out here.
Yeah, we out here. And also, if you like the music, it's by Homage Beats. Shout out to Homage. He puts out these beats for free on YouTube all the time, and I just selected everything, put it together, and it creates a vibe that I really enjoy. Hope you guys enjoyed it too. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. I hate doing that, man. It doesn't feel right to me. But the YouTube teachers tell me to always say it and mention it. But anyways, remember to reach out, reach forward, and we'll catch you next time on 34 Questions. Peace.